Woo! And what is up, man? You are in tune to Marvelous Talk with your main man, Mod Victorious and Big G. Big G, what's popping, man?
Man, I'm chilling, man. Sit down here in the rabbit hole, thinking about what could happen, checking out conspiracy theories, and understanding and knowing we're about to do some big stuff with that MCU.
Bruh, this MCU is about to get crazy. And the talk of the MCU is, of course, the multiverse of madness, Doctor Strange 2. My gosh. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to get into it. We're going to dig into it. I'm going to even go back to Doctor Strange 1. And I'm just going to dig into Doctor Strange tonight. We're going to have some conversations that I think you guys are going to be ready for, man. I hope you guys in Marvelous Talk is ready and definitely sitting out there with your pen and pad, and then hit us up too. Make sure that, definitely you like and subscribe. Make sure that you're subscribed on YouTube and on Twitch. Make sure you like this on Facebook, because, man, we're definitely fisting to get into a lot here tonight. But before we get into anything, we're definitely going to get into this. And again, you are in tune to Marvelous Talk. And man, listen, so let's jump right into it, G. We've got Doctor Strange 2, the Multiverse of Madness. And when we had WandaVision, most people didn't know, and we're going to scale back to WandaVision first. Most people didn't know that Doctor Strange was actually supposed to be talking to Wanda. And all of the commercials that you saw when there were questions being asked to Wanda and about Wanda, Doctor Strange was actually the one that was asking those questions and talking about Wanda, man.
Correct.
So, it makes sense that he was talking to Wanda, and we're going to explain why that makes sense. G, tell him, why would Doctor Strange be talking to Wanda when she's casting this huge spell in Westview?
Well, okay, so I have a theory behind if that was our MCU, Doctor Strange talking to Wanda, or was that Superior Strange talking to Wanda, or was that Sinister Strange talking to Wanda? Because in the MCU, we know that it was a Doctor Strange rendition or a variant of Doctor Strange speaking, but we don't know which one it was. And
right.
So I have a theory to believe that I think it was Superior Strange that we've seen show up in these new Doctor Strange 2 trailers and commercials. The guy with the diamond thing on his back and the streaks and his hair pulled back. I think that was Superior Strange trying to reach out to Wanda Maximoff to get her to not go through the process to become the Scarlet Witch, which we know, because he was trying to prevent it, right? And by him preventing it, then you wouldn't have had these whole series of events go on with Wanda Maximoff. I really don't believe that. I really believe that Wanda's becoming the Scarlet Witch was the one event that cracked open the multiverse. I know people have said it's been the stuff that happened with Loki and the stuff that happened with What If, but we've talked about this before, how all that stuff sort of sequences up with Wanda Maximoff creating her own dimension, her own universe, and then now everything lines up with her being the enhanced version of the Scarlet Witch. So I really believe it was Strange, but what rendition of Doctor Strange it was, I'm leaning more towards the Superior Strange than the Doctor Strange that we know, and definitely not the Sinister Strange that we've seen. Because those characters have been played out in What If and other, we know we got that coming because we've seen it in the trailer.
And to what you're saying, this makes a lot of sense, right? So that's why the shows have to work in unison with each other, because now if you're talking just WandaVision, right, you have to now talk Loki. And the reason why you
Right.
have to talk Loki is because Loki introduced the multiverse. We're fully blown in the multiverse in Loki. Now, I believe that
Correct.
one event couldn't happen without the other, right?
Correct.
Because they happen in sequence, right? Loki was
Correct.
after the events of Westview. Okay. So and then
But
after
sort of, it was out of time.
it was
We
out of
know
time,
as
but
far,
after yes.
yeah, we
So
know as far as our logic that it was after. But in the timeline, it's really right after Avengers Endgame. But because it's out of time. But in our mind, well, what we know it's right after Westview.
right, and I think even if so, let's even move with that theory. I like that theory, G. Let's say
Mm.
that happened before, right? So that happening before kind of set the stage for what happened with Wanda. Now, when she
Correct.
touched it, now I can because even think about this. If we're going by that theory, that would have made it easy for
Mm.
uh Agatha to go to another multiverse and pull Quicksilver from there, right? I would have already gave access because we still have
Correct.
no
Correct.
explanation
Correct.
on how Quicksilver showed up. You know what I mean? Ralph Boner.
Correct. Correct.
We have no explanation
Yeah.
of how
Yeah.
he's showed
Correct.
up. So even if we play by your line of theory, which really hunts, that dog hunts, then
Mm.
Loki opening up the multiverse made it easy and accessible now because the dark hole is in new hands. It was in Agatha's hands at first, so the dark hole's in new hands, and
Right.
Wanda's
Correct.
powers are way more extensive than Agatha's. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Well, think about this. The series Loki, if you play it out as far as the episodes, who's to say that when Loki and his variant encountered the version or variant of Kang, and he was like, I don't know what's happening from this point moving forward, right? Who's to say that you can't literally lay that on top of the end events of Westview? They could have happened literally at the same time. Now, the theory that doesn't line up is that Doctor Strange casting the spell in Spider-Man No Way Home also played into that. No. But what lines up for sure is those two events. I don't think the things of What If line up either. But it could have been right at the end of Loki is when that thing was going on with Wanda. And it could have been happening at the same time, simultaneously. So it makes sense that we have this multiversal thing, or once it was cracked open, that a Doctor Strange from a different dimension was able to reach out to Wanda and be like, no, don't do this. He was giving her breadcrumbs to show her, like, don't do it. We also know this. There's been cut scenes that's been released. There's been information that's been released to show that Stephen Strange was cut completely out of WandaVision. I know I saw a rendition of that end trailer when she was at Wendigo Mountain, which most people don't know yet. She's at the base of Wendigo Mountain. And there's this thing that's running down the hill, and it looks like a shadow, right? That was supposed to have been a Doctor Strange or a version or variant of Doctor Strange coming to like encounter her to be like, hey, don't do it. But they decided to cut it out because they said it didn't logically fit with what was going to happen. And I think there was also a big reveal to show Superior Strange at that point versus showing the Doctor Strange that we know and love as far as the MCU. Makes sense?
Agreed. So you got Wanda Maximoff, who is one of the strongest, if not the strongest, Marvel character that we have right now, right?
Today, yeah.
And we have her being set up in these advertisements as the antagonist. I don't think that she is the antagonist. I think we're going to see evil dispensations of her. Yeah, we're going to see bad versions of Doctor Strange. So I think it warrants the fact that we're going to see different versions of them there. But we're talking about this because you got to kind of understand the mood and the mode and the reason why we're here. All of the events lined up to make it here, right? So honestly, in my mind, I really think that this is an origin story for Kang. Just me. Uh, it could be.
Yeah.
It could be. I'm getting more convinced of this every day. I could be wrong.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I really believe that this is an origin story for Kang, and I can definitely see a version of Kang. Not this could be the young Kang, right? Or
Yeah.
this could be Kang the Conqueror. I mean, I don't know, but I just think that I see it, and that's who you see in this whole thing flying around. But now let me back up and pump the brakes real quick, right? So Doctor Strange is not the he is not the head of the Sanctorium right now. Wong is.
Right. Right. He's not Sorcerer Supreme in the MCU.
So how do we think that this is going to play out with Wong being the Sorcerer Supreme? How is it that Strange is still, and then think about this. Let's go back. In Endgame, she said Strange is meant to be the best of us. If Strange is meant to be the best, what is going on, Big G? Talk to me about that, man. Tell me. I'm if Strange is the best of us and he doing all of this kind of stuff, what else is out there, man?
Well, the issue with Doctor Strange was he actually brought balance to the MCU, right? Because he was unlearned and didn't have a lot of knowledge concerning what dark magic or mystical magic actually was, he was unlearned. So the reason why she deemed him Strange, meaning the best of us, is because he was so young and so raw. That's the whole reason why they wouldn't let him open up all those different books at 1667 Blanchett stop, which was one of the thresholds for the different dimensions being able to crash into the MCU, right? You got to remember there was the Sanctorum in China, there was the Sanctorum in the United States of America, and there was the Sanctorum in Africa. And that formed that triangle that cast a spell over the whole world. So Strange inside the Sanctorum, and we've got a little bit more of the Sanctorum in Spider-Man No Way Home, where they showed like the depths of it. And they said these walls have been in existence for thousands and thousands and thousands of years because they've been casting spells. So there's a lot that Strange didn't know based on him being snapped out of the universe, right? And then when he came back, he still has limited knowledge and limited understanding. So any person that has a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of understanding, will always be deemed the best because they're raw. To make a long story short, they don't really know. I think that what we're getting is a more and more mature version of Strange, who's learning more and more about both sides of the magic and really how powerful magic is. We haven't seen Strange be selfish. And I think in this movie, you're going to get Strange being selfish and taking care of himself because he no longer has the responsibility, or so he perceives, the responsibility of saving the universe. We're just as much as we've seen Wanda be broken as a character, I think you're going to get a broken Stephen Strange. Now, to answer your question about Kang, I think we'll get remnants of a backdrop story with Kang. But I think the whole backdrop story of Kang is going to play out over this movie, over Ant-Man Quantumania, and I still see bits and pieces of him tying into different television shows too. But we're really going to find out how many different versions or how in depth the character is. Because Kang already said it on the one. He remains already said that you think I'm terrible and you think I'm bad. Wait till you see the other ones that's like me, right? So we're going to get all kind of little different versions of Kang, which what makes him the perfect villain. If you want to really have a big bad for Phase 4, it makes it perfect because we're all over the place concerning the map of the MCU.
And agree, because I mean, when you're in time and you're in and outside of time, you can definitely explore a lot, man. You can put a lot into what you're seeing in the multiverse of madness now. So
Mm.
my theory here is Big G. My theory, I'm walking real slow because I really want to kind of paint the picture. When we see we get to we move from Westview, we move from Loki, understanding that Loki has ties to a lot of the characters inside of the multiverse of madness, right?
Yes.
America
Yes.
Chavez, young Loki, fought America Chavez and got hulled completely out. That literally happened. The young Loki got hulled out. Then after that, you saw after the young Loki got hulled out, after that, you saw America Chavez in this movie. And if you know in the comic books, Big G will even tell you, if you know in the comic books, America Chavez hauled young Loki out and sent young Loki packing. And young Loki told America Chavez in the comic books, man, you can take a tank and throw it to the sun. I mean, like she's like that. She's like that for real. And not only
Well,
is
well,
go ahead.
Kevin Feige has recently come out and said himself that Wanda Maximoff is like he actually verbally said it that Wanda Maximoff is the most powerful character in the MCU. Kevin Feige literally said in an interview that I just watched down here in the rabbit hole that if she would have been able to go one on one with Thanos, she would have destroyed him quickly. It wouldn't even have been a contest or a fight. So that's saying before how powerful she was, even before she gets hold of the Darkhold and actually becomes the Scarlet Witch.
And so,
Right.
but my point is America Chavez is going toe to toe with her, right?
Right.
You see a
Right.
scene where she jumps over the altar that really looks like Wanda on this altar now. This looks like
Yeah.
Wanda laid out from the Darkhold, right? She jumps over and she's engaging Wanda in combat, which shows me that America Chavez ain't no punk. Period.
Right.
Point blank. So
Right.
her being in this movie and her being a part of this isn't by chance. These
Right.
characters have been set up and brought along by each and every Marvel series that we have introduced, right?
Right.
We have if you've not been paying attention, you're missing the subtleties. And Big G is going to talk about another subtlety here in just a minute that definitely adds up to what we're saying. So you got America Chavez, you got Wanda Maximoff, you got Doctor Strange, right? You got Stephen Strange, you got Wong, right?
Yeah.
These are our pivotal characters inside of here.
Now we're learning and Mordo. Mordo is pivotal too because
so I'm getting to Mordo. Now we're learning more about Mordo. Let's talk about Mordo because here we have Mordo in the very beginning in Doctor Strange Part 1. Who is Mordo, Big G? Tell us who Mordo really is.
Well, in the comic book rendition versus the MCU rendition, they're very close, but there's some differences. Mordo became Doctor Strange's biggest nemesis or adversary for a time period as far as Earth-based enemies. Because in the comic book, Doctor Strange has multiverse enemies, everything from Dormammu to Nightmare. I mean, I can run down the list of things that Doctor Strange actually fights, right? Agamotto, when you're talking about the Eye of Agamotto, that Agamotto is actually Doctor Strange's enemy. He was once a Sorcerer Supreme. So, but as far as Earth-based enemies, Mordo is his biggest one. What we see on the MCU is Mordo literally was the guy who trained Doctor Strange into becoming a sorcerer. He was like pushing his buttons, trying to get him ready, trying to get him, build up to be able to fight the way he needed to fight. The issue of Sorcerer Supreme sort of fell into Doctor Strange's lap because Mordo went rogue or went dark. Like Mordo was the one in line to take it from the Ancient One because he was the Ancient One's right hand. And when he found out that the Ancient One was pulling magic from the dark universe, it sort of made him just go rogue. And so the last time we saw Mordo, as far as the big screen was concerned, is he was talking about, the problem? There's too many sorcerers. There's too many different versions or people that can have the ability to go dark and light. So what I'm going to do is eliminate them all so that I will be the real sorcerer supreme, not just based on somebody choosing me, but based on me being the last one. So Mordo in the MCU took on a dark rendition of a character even faster than he did in the comic book. I think now Mordo is going to be Doctor Strange's biggest ally. Versus being an adversary, I think Mordo is going to be a real big ally. Because what he's going to do is he's going to set the stage of a person that Doctor Strange has some level of connectivity to. And because these other folks, including Wong, Strange really doesn't have any connection to him. So, we saw that in Spider-Man No Way Home. Juan sort of like was, get out of here. I ain't doing what you're doing. I'm not casting no spells. I got bigger fish to fry. I'm taking care of what I need to take care of. You're just a little scrub. You're a bum. So there's no connectivity for Stephen Strange to any of those characters. Now he's come back from the snap. Because before he was the Sorcerer Supreme, now he's just one of the guys. So I really do believe that Mordo and Strange is going to have that connectivity that's going to keep at least our version of Stephen Strange grounded in the MCU moving forward.
I think you're right. And so with Mordo being as powerful as he is, you have to understand this character is pivotal moving forward. And the good thing I love about Mordo is that Mordo is just as nice as Stephen. Just as nice. I mean, in some areas, I would think that I even think that he's better, right? Because I mean, he's the one who trained Stephen Strange. You know what I mean? He put him out there, and he put him on the course, and he handled him up for a minute. So it's one of those things where I feel like we have a lot to learn from this character, and I think that we should really have our eyes open to see the Mordo's character arc develop, because there's some things that I think he's going to do. I agree with Big G on this. I believe there's some things that he's going to do to put Strange in positions to win, right? I think he's going to do some things to put Strange in position to win. Now, we talked about America Chavez's powers in being able to create a star, and in that star, she can go from universe to universe, whatever multiverse she wants to walk through. That's important, and that's pivotal. And why would she be fighting a dark version of Wanda? Well, we said this in the previous shows. She'd be fighting a dark version of Wanda because Wanda needs that ability to go through and just be walking to find these kids. Wanda's whole mindset is on her family and these kids. Now, I'm finna call you back on one, man. You sent me a video, and I didn't really get a chance to get into it, but my thought process still remains. Where's White Vision at?
Well, at this point, we don't know. I think you could possibly get a call back or a call to with White Vision, because you got to remember, Vision, prior to him being decimated in Avengers Endgame, prior to Wanda recreating him inside the Hex, right? Vision had knowledge of the multiverse. He's the one that hit Wanda to it and saying, like, there's a vast amount of universes out there and all whatever else. But Wanda was like, Vision has this theory, right? So what we saw is that knowledge and information from the actual stone, based on Wanda's memory, go up into White Vision and change his eyes and make him more like human, right? So could we get a version of White Vision maybe showing up as one of the panel members of the Illuminati or working with that group of people? Yes, right? I don't know if they're going to give us so much of that, but I know that moving forward, Vision is a pivotal character in the next rendition of the Avengers, right? So White Vision is going to be, I don't think they're just going to blow or shoot their wad in this video. I think that they're going to give us little breadcrumbs about him, give us some information about him. I think they're also going to tap into the love aspect of Vision with Wanda. Because from what we know right now is that the death of Vision crushed her. And then the worst thing happened was the loss of her children. So now if you have White Vision showing back up, I don't know how much connectivity there is between White Vision and Wanda, and that plays out like how it is in the comic book. So you're going to get a version of Vision. You'll get breadcrumbs of him, but I think moving forward in different titles, White Vision is going to show up more and more and more. That's just my feeling.
And G, you bring up a good point, bro. Like, think about this. White Vision having knowledge of the multiverse before, White Vision knowing what's about to go down. I got to get out of Westview. I got to get somewhere because, this chick done took Darkhold and it's about to go down. I got to get somewhere so I can start helping everybody to get ready for what's coming. So I could definitely see a dispensation of White Vision in this movie, and maybe he may be the only person to actually help Wanda. He may be the only person to reach the Dark Wanda. We don't know. All of this is speculative.
Because he's fueled, you got to remember, he's fueled by the Hex energy that Wanda created from the Hex. Like, they restarted him based on sucking that in. They took one of those objects or things that went into the Hex and got transformed and pulled it out. And that's how they fueled this Joker up. So he's got stuff that the other Vision had no ability to be able to do. So my guess, or if I had a theory, I would say he's either in Sword, like he's off in space dealing with Nick Fury, or he was able to jump dimensions. And he might be with that whole Illuminati panel that we see. He might not be one of the guys sitting up on the stage, but he definitely could be working behind the scenes. You got the Ultron bots that showed up. Come on. So if Ultron ain't the captain, somebody got to be the captain. That's just my
what I'm saying? What I'm saying? So you have to kind of keep everything in mind. Everything is on the table at this point. Everything that we know, all of the characters that we've seen are all on the table, man. I mean, you can literally see all kinds. I mean, we already know, speculative again, but we know that we got Charles Xavier, right? Yeah. And the only way that these two agreed that they would play the character together. That's one. Second, they wouldn't do it again because they felt like they brought him to a great end. So you're gonna have a Wolverine spotting at some point in this movie,
man,
right?
All I gotta say is I wouldn't, man. If I had to sit down and play a spades game with Patrick Stewart, man, I'd be like, dude, I'm not playing, man, because this dude can't hold a game face of water. I saw his video, and he was like, well, yeah, you're gonna have to wait to see if I'm such and such and such. Like, dude, we already know that Kevin Feige threatened you within an inch of your life. If you say anything, it's a wrap. He wants to get royalty checks before he passes on to the next part, So we know that. But as far as like having a game face and sitting in the room, man, he got to go on somewhere, man.
How hype are you going to be, G, when you see Patrick Stewart on the screen? Like, how hype are you going to be, man?
Okay, so I'm one of those guys that I thought Fox blew it with every rendition of the X-Men, right? I'm ready. I'm one of those guys. It is basically like, if it's going down, let's get it over with. Let's wipe those guys off. Let's close the story and let's reboot the X-Men and do it the way that they're supposed to be done. As y'all can't see, my thing right here with the X-Men, they're like my favorite things ever, right? And I really think that they do it just justice or disservice as far as the X-Men, and if they don't tell as close as they possibly can of a comic book accurate story. So let's get the first team with Charles Xavier, Jean Grey, Iceman, Angel, Beast, Scott Summers, Cyclops. And then let's build it out. I'm not one of those guys that want to jump to Wolverine right now. So I understand why they had to do it in the Fox universe, because they were trying to sell a product, and they were trying to make, Wolverine is like one of the most popular characters in everything. So I understand we got to sell Wolverine, but the story of X-Men is not about Wolverine. Wolverine has his own story. So I think that Kevin Feige is smart enough to understand and know that we got to close this chapter. I got to redo mutants with the X-Men. I'm going to give Wolverine his whole thing. because I mean, you got to think about how much history Wolverine has with Steve Rogers and Weapon X, with the Department H from Alpha Flight. I mean, there's a
But
lot of
G,
stuff going on.
but G, how hype are you gonna be, bro? When you see that
I'm,
wheelchair, man, like I'm gonna lose it, man. Like I'm gonna lose it. I
I'm
already
going to
know
be
he in the
hyped.
movie.
I'm going to be hyped, but I'm one of the guys that, like I said, if it's going down, let's get it over. Let's close out that chapter and let's get this mutant thing right the way it's supposed to be. You
Bro,
know, I mean, I love Hugh Jackman. I love Patrick Stewart, but I'm like, man, come on, man, it's enough. Let's do it the right way. You
bro,
know,
listen, I'm gonna be so hyped when I see Professor X on a Marvel set. I mean, I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose it.
yeah,
That's gonna
yeah.
be one of the moments in this movie that I'm literally gonna lose it. So it is what it is.
But hey, you know what, Ma? This is my thinking too, man. So, Kevin Feige thinks like a mad scientist, right? So if the whole think about how much he lied to us as far as the trailers with Spider-Man No Way Home and all whatever, and how many cut scenes where we actually saw the footage, and then like we saw where he took Tobey Maguire and all them out, right? And he kept lying and saying, "Nah, it ain't in it. Nah, it ain't in it. Nah, it ain't in it." And then we saw it, and there was that emotional knee-jerk reaction, right, from a lot of fans. That's why to this day, Spider-Man No Way Home is still like the number one movie. But if Patrick Stewart or Charles Xavier character was so pivotal, why in the world would he disclose that to us in a trailer? You would think that he would hold back like how he held back Tobey Maguire and all of them and be like, nah. So I think that was just enough to make our mouths start salivating. But I think that some of the cameos that you're going to see in this thing is going to have people going bananas.
That's the ticket right there, G. That's the thing. The reason why the answer to your question is simple. The reason why we divulge that is there's so much more. That's
Yeah,
gonna be one. That's one that's gonna get everybody there. That's gonna get everybody to the tickets. And
yeah,
we have another commercial where we're seeing zombie strange, which is
yeah,
crazy. I mean,
yeah.
seeing the dispensation of zombies. Oh my gosh, this is it. I mean, wow. Like I'm just my head is blowing out. I can't take anymore. I'm like, listen, don't give me no more trailers. I can't take it.
Right.
I,
But Feige already said they already announced Marvel Zombies as a series. So we got to have that. He already did it.
I can't.
So,
I'm telling you, man, my head's about to pop off. There's just too much. I'm like, please don't give me another trailer. Please, I can't. I can't take it. Like y'all are taking too long giving me the movie. Anyway, so now that we've got this whole Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness set up, man,
yeah.
and we've got so many different things. We've got antagonists. We know we've got possible Kang sightings. We know we've got possible Illuminati sightings, possible because it wasn't confirmed. It looks like the Illuminati. We're thinking it's the Illuminati. Why else would we get Charles Xavier? You know what I mean?
Right.
So honestly, when it comes down to it, in my mind, I'm starting to think and I'm saying, man, okay, what is this movie about? Like, it's the multiverse of madness. It's just, if it's just going to be chaos, or are we pointing towards something? And if we're pointing towards something, what are we pointing towards?
Yeah. I think it's a reboot. I mean, we saw the the soft reboot, not even a soft reboot, straight up reboot of Spider-Man. He fixed everything that had to do with it. Now there's all these other little things hanging out there, right? Fox Universe, Sony Universe, Deadpool Universe. It's a lot of stuff that's hanging out there. 2 or 3 different versions of the Fantastic Four, 2 or 3 different versions of the X-Men, right? So you gotta fix it, right? So I believe this is Kevin Feige's way to say, okay, guys, I'm rebooting everything. I'm going to give your homage where the homage is due. I'm going to tie you into it to say, yeah, you exist in some shape or form or fashion out there in other universes. But when this thing is wrapped, the total end is now all of these titles and all of these characters and all of these products all come up underneath one umbrella. And I think that's what I know without a shadow of a doubt, Wanda Maximoff is going to have a big point to do with the rendition of mutants in the MCU. I know that. I know that's going to happen. So how else do you tie it, put a bow in a 3-hour spectacle, something you've been leading to be able to offset the Fox, the Fantastic Four, the Deadpool? You pull it all over together and you reboot it, because that's exactly what we saw in Spider-Man. You know?
Yeah, and it's that's my thought. That's my thing. You know, I'm sitting here and I'm saying to myself, like, where are we driving? Where's this car driving to? And you want to know, because the movie is just really simple. You introduce your characters. After you introduce your characters, you get them into something. After you get them into something, you get them out of something. It's three phases of a movie. Introduce your character, get them in something, get them out of something. Well, we've got character introductions already. So you know, I just don't know how they're gonna paint this picture, and I don't know how they're gonna land this plane. But I think we're gonna end up having to watch this movie at least 3 times to really get it all, to digest it all, and to really know where we're going. I just don't see us getting it all in at one sitting. It feels like so many layers already. Like the Centaur, I don't even know who this Centaur dude is, and I'm on everything. So I need you to explain to me who this daggone Centaur is. Who is that? Who's the big thing with the horns?
It could be Ballstar, man, which I believe it is. You know, some folks is calling it a different guy. They're calling it. Okay, so remember I said about the Eye of Agamotto, right? Agamotto was the Sorcerer Supreme forever. So like he had a centaur that was like his right hand man, sort of like Wong is to Doctor Strange. So people are saying it's that character. I don't think so. I think it's Ballstar. And I think Ballstar is because in the comic books, Ballstar, Dr. Voodoo, Doctor Strange, Clea, Mordu, they all hook up. They form like a group to like go at Dormammu. So I really do believe that this cat is like the version of that character, because I think it's from the timeline of the Strange Supreme. I think when you see that the thing getting attacked, like the place where they all train attack, I think that's going to be some of the first scenes that you see in the movie, because I think we're going to get a shadow forecast of the big bad who's really manipulating Wanda like a puppet, right? I think that there's a couple of people that it could be. I think, but Cthulhu is my big bet. It could be Cthulhu or it could be Nightmare that's manipulating Wanda. But I would say Cthulhu for sure, right? That he's the big bad behind all of this. And if you don't know who Cthulhu is, we got a show where we talk about how the Darkhold was created at the base of the Wandagore Mountains, and how WandaVision is, how Wanda is a third generation Sorcerer Supreme. There's a whole show. So you know, I have to say that moving forward, you need to go back and watch that, because we gave you nuggets about how you can really see how they're creating this big bad as far as the Darkhold is concerned with magic and sorcery. If that makes sense, Mon.
No, it does. It does. So, honestly, like I said, man, what we want you to do and what we're doing is just setting your plate, you know, wetting your palate, making sure you guys know what it is going to look like with the multiverse of madness. The reason why they call it madness is you're gonna have every element in this whole thing: zombies, warlocks, witches. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna see callbacks to different characters in different universes. That's why they showed you all the variants, and they set the stage for variants in Loki, right? They showed you all of the Loki variants. You're used to it now. Your mind is around variants, right? So then, you know, Kang got introduced. That's something you're gonna see, right? That's something you're definitely gonna get. So there's so many different layers and levels to this thing, And if you don't understand the characters leading up to this, you're gonna watch the movie and be kind of discombobulated. You know what I mean?
Right.
You
That's why we do what we do, because we understand and know that our audience are individuals that might not deep dive, but we enjoy doing that. We deep dive so that way we can give information to make their viewing experience more enhanced and more like what they like. So we really do this not just because we have love for the comics and all whatever else, but to give them a better viewing experience. So until we get to a new title like with Moon Knight, we're going to be dropping nuggets to give you guys, put you guys on the path of the breadcrumbs. So then that way, when those big titles jump off like the Moon Knight, like the Doctor Strange, like the Thor: Love and Thunder, you're going to know what's going on even before you get there. If you don't have time to go back and watch.
Before you get there, we're definitely going to have you informed. We're definitely going to have you informed. And speaking of which, having you informed on Saturday morning, cartoons or Marvelous Talk, like we like to call it, man, we're definitely going to deep dive. And we're going to deep dive into the Illuminati. We're going to deep dive into definitely Mordo and America Chavez. We're just going to get the main characters of this. We're going to deep dive and we're going to set the tone for you. We're going to do about 3 of them this Saturday. And we're just going to go ahead and tell you their powers. We're going to tell you their abilities. We're going to tell you what they do. And we're going to talk about, what their possible role could be inside of the multiverse of madness. And definitely, if you like what you heard, man, make sure you like and subscribe. Like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube and Twitch. We are here for you and yours, man. Every time we go live, you will definitely be able to catch us, and you'll get the notification. G, do you have any clothing shots, man?
Yeah, man. I just one thing is prayers and condolences for our new compadre. So I'm excited on one half, but on the other half, I'm a little sad. My heart's feeling it. So prayers and condolences for Max Carr, who's going to be our third member or new member of the show moving forward, man. I'm so excited to bring Max on and his viewpoint, right? But prayers and condolences to his family as they go through this hard time and he transitions with the passing of his grandfather. So we're praying for you, Max. We're praying for you, Max.
Yeah, definitely our heart goes out to you, Max, man, as our partner. Definitely part of it. Man, listen, this is birthday weekend for me, so I'm excited. And we're definitely gonna get into we're definitely gonna get into it this weekend, man. I'm excited to just talk about the Illuminati. The Illuminati, there's a lot to kind of ingest and to know why they exist and to know what they're possibly doing inside of this movie. But man, we thank you guys for watching. We ask that you definitely share it, man. Share this on every platform you get an opportunity to. Share it with your friends. If you love it, make sure you're sharing it and make sure you're telling people about the content. Till Saturday, we out of here. Peace.